Hi everyone, welcome back to the USCPA classes for financial accounting and reporting exam. In this video, I'll be covering in detail about conceptual framework for non-business entity. Yes, so we'll be covering characteristics of non-business entity, objective of non-business entity, and the financial reporting of non-business entity. So let's dive into to understand everything about conceptual framework for non-business entities.
Then we go down to the standard setting process, right? So let me take you down. Here you go. So conceptual framework for non-business entity. Non-business entity is like NGO, trust, society who work majorly for not-for-profit organization, but not governmental organization, right? This is the difference between not-for-profit, or you can say non-business entity, and the governmental organization, right? So governmental organization, everything will cover in chapter 5, but this is other than governmental organization who work not for profit, right? So
just
what are
one
the
thing, so जैसे बिल एंड मेलिंडा गेट्स फाउंडेशन है तो वो एनएफटी इस पे आएगी है ना?
yes, very true.
और वहीं अगर मैं आईआरएस की बात करूं तो वो एक गवर्नमेंटल एंटिटी हो गई.
Yes.
ओके.
Like municipality government, state government, central government, or government-led entity. So like for example, in India, NHAI, or maybe like Bharat Petroleum. So these kind of companies like who are government-led PSUs, basically what we call in India, right? So those companies need to follow the governmental accounting standard. But yeah, so Bill and Melinda Gates, or maybe Disney Walnut Foundation, or maybe Warren Buffett Foundation, or maybe like other church, or you can say library, some public museums. So those all need to be follow this non-business entity, right? So it operates for the purpose other than providing. So these are like certain characteristics of a non-business entity or non-business, you can say not-for-profit businesses. So first one is its operating purpose is other than providing good and service at a profit or profit equivalent. So they are providing goods and services not for profit, right? For the social welfare, for the social upliftment, or for the benefit of the society. Second important thing, which is a differentiating factor for a profit organization and not-for-profit organization, is the interest of the person who is providing resource. Like for a company, if someone is investing as a shareholder, he has an interest that he'll be earning out of it. Whereas the resource provider for this not-for-profit organization, trust and society, they are like a donor, guarantors, members, and the taxpayer who do not expect to receive either the repayment or any economic benefit proportionate to the resources provided. So here you will provide the money, or you will provide your own services, you will provide the resources in returns of nothing, right? You're not expecting that NGO, that trust, that society, that church, that temple will be provide you anything back, or you'll be earning any amount of out of it, or you'll be taking any benefit of their economic resources which they have available, right? Third thing is no one have ownership. Yes, sure.
सर डोनर्स, ग्रांटर्स और मेंबर्स का तो सर एम आई ऑडिबल? सर डोनर्स, ग्रांटर्स और मेंबर्स का समझ में आता है. टैक्स पेयर्स एनएफपी में कैसे आएंगे?
Yeah, so taxpayer also can contribute. So, in like regulation, you will understand what are the benefit of a taxpayer to do this. Like same way how we get ATG benefits.
तो वो तो डोनर हो गया ना सर उसमें.
So you can say it's a donor, or like just an extended term of donor. So donor can be like who will availing the who will be a taxpayer or cannot be a taxpayer. Donor can be a taxpayer or cannot be a taxpayer. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're
Yes, sir, it's
Yes,
okay.
sir, clear.
Mhm. So donor can be taxpayer or cannot be a taxpayer.
Done.
It's just elaboration in like of the term.
Yes. Okay.
But conceptually, what you are saying is right. So it will be like donor. Like within the donor, you can say it can be taxpayer, it cannot be taxpayer. Right? Taxpayer mentioning specifically here is the objective to reflect like same way how we get ADG benefit, same way like charitable contribution benefits are there in the tax purpose.
Exactly, sir.
Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Then third one is like no one have ownership interest, like there's no share capital, right? You'll be considered as a donor, grantor, member, taxpayer, but you will not be, you cannot sell the ownership right. You cannot transfer that ownership right. You cannot redeem that ownership right? Last one is its performance indicator are nature and relationship between inflow and outflow of the resources. If you remember in India also, maybe in your college day or when you are doing your professional study, you might have studied governmental accounting, right? Have you guys studied governmental accounting in your college days?
yes, sir, पढ़ी तो थी कहीं पे.
So hope you remember in the governmental accounting, you might not be showing income statement,
Right,
right?
right,
Rather than you'll be showing inflow and outflow of cash,
correct.
right? So same way here also,
Yeah.
the performance indicator are not income statement. Performance indicator are not profit, not revenue. The performance indicator is how much you can say donation and collection or fundraising activity you have done and where exactly you have utilized. And have you utilized for those specific purpose for which you have raised the fund. So those are the performance indicator for a not-for-profit organization. Right? So that's the difference between for-profit organization and not-for-profit organization. First one is purpose is other than providing goods and service for profit. Second is the resource provider do not have any expectation to avail the economic benefit or profit out of it. Third is there is no ownership, there is no share capital. So no one can sell that, redeem that, or transfer that. And the last one is the performance indicator is altogether different. Performance indicator is how much collection you have made and how much utilization you have made for those respective collection for the specific purpose rather than profit or revenue. Right? So far, so good.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
So objective of non-business financial reporting. So far we understand what is not for business organization and what are the characteristics of not for business organization. Now we are understanding why we need to make financial statement for not for profit organization. What is the objective of preparing the financial statement of non-business entities, not for profit business entity, right? First thing is express the overall purpose and related objective. So why do we make financial statement? So that we can express the overall purpose of the organization and the objective of the organization. That need to be clearly laid down. Same way like when we make the financial statement, right? In the financial statement, hope you remember, we add MDA. Do you know what is MDA?
Management disclosure and analysis.
The
Yes. Management discussion and analysis. Right?
discussion and analysis.
Yeah. So what all things comes in MDA? If you have gone through the 10K by any chance?
सर उसमें एक तो समरी होती है फाइनेंशियल रिजल्ट्स. ठीक
Hmm.
है. एनी सिग्निफिकेंट इवेंट्स दैट हैपन ड्यूरिंग द ईयर लाइक एनी मर्जर एक्विजिशन.
Hmm.
इसके अलावा एनी दे ऑल्सो डिस्क्लोज द फोरकास्ट कि
Hmm.
व्हाट आर दे एक्सपेक्टिंग फॉर नेक्स्ट ईयर और नेक्स्ट क्वार्टर.
Hmm.
सिग्निफिकेंट लिटिगेशंस कोई अगर हो, so that also forms
Hmm.
ये this I can recall.
Hmm. Yeah, Kashish, anything you remember?
तो यही पढ़ा था उसमें.
Simplest है
So
सर
simple
ये
says ditto. Sorry, my bad. It was a 23 page number. So if you see, this is management discussion and analysis. So here, like I am telling you time and again, if you read through this two financial statement which I have shared with you, your FAR exam is almost done. But I'm not sure whether you are reading it or not. But this will give you the broad overview of the organization, what all activities they do, what is management expect in their current business, and what the management forecast in future of their business, what are the key measurement indicator for the organization as a whole. So all those things is being part of the MDA, and then certain key events like you said, Ayush, right? So those all things comes under the part of MDA, right? Here also, if you go back, it says expression of overall purpose, why we have made this NGO, and what are the key objectives which we want to achieve, and what are the plans for that, and what is the current status against those plans, and what are the future plans, right? Second important thing is provide the basis for establishing detailed accounting and reporting standard. So this give you the basis for the accounting and reporting standard, like you can say if you have any specific you can say initiative, for example during the COVID time, let's assume you are priest of a church and you're running a church, right? And during the COVID time you decided to support for the humanity cause, and you have run a donation drive cause for humanity under the COVID, right? In that you have done certain fundraising activity specific to support two things. One is the medical equipment required so that you can provide the support to the COVID, you can say, patient. And then second is operational support required, right? The amount which you have collected specifically for the equipment and for the infrastructure to provide the COVID care to the COVID patient. So that amount you will be only and only utilizing for the capital expenditure. But on the other hand, and capital expenditure relating to the COVID infrastructure only, right? On the other hand, you have raised certain fund to provide general support, right? That you can utilize for the general expenditure, which is like the salaries, electricities, normal wear and tears, or maybe normal medicines and everything which you are requiring, right? So that specific information need to be present specific to the requirement. Third thing is information useful to present and potential resource providers, like information about the economic resources, obligation, and net resources. If you see, have you seen any not-for-profit organization financial statement by any chance?
No sir.
No,
Hmm, okay.
सर
So
बट आई गेस रेफरेंस के लिए तो किसी बिल मिलिंडा गेट्स इन सब के डाउनलोड करने पड़ेंगे.
yes, yeah. So maybe you can download the financial statement. Yeah, so this is available here. I can download this for you. KPMG is the auditor. Right. So there you go. So this is the financial statement of not-for-profit organization. Consolidated financial statement for financial year 2022. Same way like how we do the financial statement of like a for-profit organization with the independent audit report, right? And then after you'll see this is financial position. So in the for-profit organization, we say financial statement, and for not-for-profit organization, the terminology is different. Here we use the term called, I need to go for PDF editor. So yeah, this is like financial position, not financial statement. And again, here if you see the assets in the same sequence, cash, prepaid, beneficial interest, program related investment assets, property, plant and equipment, and operating lease, right to use assets, which you have studied in ASC 842, right? And the liability, again, same account payable, accrued, operating, grant payable. So we'll discuss on those terminology, what is grant payable and all those things, and program related investment liability. And then the net asset. So this is the net asset. And you compare the net asset, which is like your donor with restriction or without restriction fund. And the total will tie to the financial statement. This is how like financial position will look like. And then instead of income statement, it is consolidated statement of equity, where you will disclose the inflows and outflows, right? And then the cash flow statement, which is again like indirect method. And then it's like kind of notes to accounts, which is providing the details of the respective item. Right, I'll send you this as well to you guys in a group. I request, like this will be very helpful for you to take a look for understanding not-for-profit organization, financial statement, and the disclosure report. Right, if you see now, if I go back to the notes, information useful to present a potential resource provider. Potential resource provider are like donor, guarantors, right, grantors. To them, it has been important. First is information about economic resources, obligation, and net resources. If you see the financial position, what that financial position demonstrate? What does this financial position demonstrate? Your economic resources, obligation, and net resources, right? So this net assets is basically your net resources available, right? It can be without donor restriction or it can be with donor restriction for specific purpose, right? So what is the difference between without donor restriction and with the donor restriction? Any idea?
Yes, sir. So basically, whenever someone donates,
They are to be used for a particular purpose only.
Right. So like an example which we are discussing about the COVID. Yeah. So those funds which donor has provided, if you remember like back in 2020 when COVID came, in India also there was PM COVID Care Fund. Right? Have you guys heard of this?
Yes,
yes,
sir.
yes.
Right? Any of you by
Yeah,
chance
sir.
deposited?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. So that fund has utilized only and only for COVID care benefit. Right, that is called donor restriction. I'm restricting that I'm paying this amount only for this specific cause. So hence that amount should not be utilized for any other purpose. Second is like, for example, when you go to the temple, church, or gurdwara, and there you do some cash donation, right? That is a general purpose donation which that temple, gurdwara, church, they can use at their own discretionary. Those are called without donor restriction. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, information about the economic resources, obligation, and net resources of an
Yes, sir.
organization and effect of the transaction, event, and circumstances that change the resources and interest of those resources. Second one, like what we are studying here, why we make financial statement. What is the whole objective of making financial statement for not-for-profit organization, right? That's what the topic we are studying. Second is making a rational decision about the allocation of resources to those organizations, right? So if you are not making proper financial statement, how do you understand and identify what are the amount dues for the respective work, and how do you allocate the resources so that you can allocate the required resources for the required purpose properly? You need a proper financial statement. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Third is ability to continue to provide
Yes, sir.
non-business services. Why do we, like, I know in our organization, I'm sure you might be heard of MIS, Monthly Information System Reporting, right? Any of you by chance like prepared MIS, monthly reportings,
No, sir.
or you have seen by any chance?
आयुष
Kashish,
आवाज बिल्कुल नहीं आ रही, बहुत कम आ रही है।
sorry?
No, sir.
सर वो आयुष कुछ बोल रहा था, उसकी आवाज़ नहीं आ रही कुछ।
आयुष है?
हाँ सर, है।
आज आवाज आई नहीं रही आयुष की. So I'm missing. He's typing something in chat box. Yes, I'm here. Yeah, but we can't hear you. We are missing you. Okay. So, like, why do we make like monthly reportings internally? So that we understand what we have planned. Is the things going as per the plan or not? Right? So keep ourselves on a track and understand that whether we will be in a position to continue to provide the services or product for which we have built our business, right? Same way for not-for-profit organization also, you need to look at, like, you need to prepare the financial statement or your internal reporting so that you understand whether you will be able to continue to provide such services for which you have established, or there is an issue on the going concern, right? Fourth is how businesses, organizations have discharged their stewardship responsibility and about other aspect of their performance. So financial statement help us giving a light or giving a direction whether the management is taking the responsibility in completing their task or completing the obligation which they have properly or not, or discharging their duty properly or not, right? Fifth one is information about the performance of the organization. So financial statement, if you go to the statement of activity, right? What is the statement of activity?
सर
What is
स्टेटमेंट ऑफ एक्टिविटी बेसिक ऑपरेट
yeah.
ट्रेडिंग्स वो जो
No, this is a
अकाउंट है।
statement of activity. Like for business organization, we call it income statement. But for not-for-profit organization, we call it statement of activity. Statement of activity reflect how much amount you have collected from which sources, like contribution and other. Second is program investment income, that is fundraising. Third one is net asset released from the restriction, right? That means you have satisfied the restriction, so those assets has been released. So that will give you the total revenues and gain minus the expense. Expense could be for the programs, right? That can be global program, US program, other charitable program, or pragmatic support. That means support function. So total program expense minus there is management and general expenditure. So that gives you the total expenditure. And then there will be a change in net asset without donor restriction before beneficial interest. That means total revenue minus the total expenses. It is showing negative. How much negative? $7.27 million.
Yes.
Right? In this example, if you see, there's a negative $7.27 million. And impact of beneficial interest, contribution from trustee, they have given $6.8 million contribution, or change in net asset from the trust, around $14 million. So the total impact on beneficial interest is $20 million minus $7 million, around $13 million is the change in net asset without donor restriction, right? And then you see change in net asset with donor purpose restriction. So donor have given a contribution of $10,000, and then net asset released was around $48,000. So the change in with the donor restriction is around $38,000. So total change is $13.605 million minus $38,000 is $13.567 million, right? And net asset at the beginning you are adding it, so it will give you the net asset at the end, which is 63 point.
सर ये बनानी तो नहीं है ना?
No.
बनानी
You should
है
have
तो
an idea. You should have an idea.
बट इसका सर क्वेश्चन तो
सर एक
स्टेटमेंट
डाउट पूछना था
एमसीक्यू में,
Yeah.
मतलब कौन सी क्लासिफिकेशन किस तरीके से है, या फिर मतलब के ऊपर एक क्वेश्चन कोई भी कि भाई आपकी एनजीओ के अगर फाइनेंशियल्स बन रहे हैं तो उसमें इस टर्म का मतलब क्या है, मे बी उस तरीके से आ सकता है शायद.
Yes.
ये
So
आता
those things I have highlighted in notes, and we'll do certain practice question
Okay.
also. But here I'm giving you more deeper understanding than required for
सर एक
exam.
डाउट पूछना था
Shivam, yes, please. Yes, Shivam.
सर ये जो आपने स्टेटमेंट अभी दिखाया स्टेटमेंट ऑफ एक्टिविटीज, सर आवाज आ रही है?
Yes.
सर ये स्टेटमेंट ऑफ एक्टिविटीज जो आपने अभी दिखाया, ये स्टेटमेंट ऑफ एक्टिविटीज जो आपने अभी दिखाया, सर ये मतलब रिसीट्स एंड एक्सपेंडिचर, कैश रिसीट्स एंड कैश एक्सपेंडिचर है कि इनकम एंड एक्सपेंडिचर है? इनकम एंड एक्सपेंडिचर.
Yeah. No. Receipt and expenditure. You're right. Like in India, how we do
receipts and
like
expenditure.
receipt and expenditure account. Yes.
अच्छा, जैसे कैश रिसीट्स और कैश एक्सपेंडिचर वही है?
Yes. The terminology is different, but fundamentally things are same. Yeah, Kashish, what you are saying?
Sir, I am saying कि income and expenditure ही होना चाहिए ना, देखा जाए तो.
No.
ठीक है, not for
Income and
profit है.
expenditure terminology is being used for business purpose entity.
हाँ, वो
This
income
is a
statement के लिए.
So this is a not for business entity. So hence you are saying statement of activity.
बेसिकली सर जो कैश फ्लो होती है वही है एक तरह से.
No. Cash flow is different.
नहीं, आई एम नॉट गेटिंग. ओके,
Cash flow is
अच्छा वही है
this.
बेसिकली पीएनएल. हाँ, कैश फ्लो नीचे है. ओके, ऊपर पीएनएल ही हो गया.
This is like a P&L. Yes, you are right. But we call it statement of activity instead of profit and loss account or income statement account. So terminology is different. As well as you can say.
एक चीज सर, अगर पीएनएल अकाउंट है तो उसमें ऊपर में जो आउटस्टैंडिंग एक्सपेंसेस है वो सब अक्रूवल्स हैं, वो भी चलेंगे ना?
Where?
और सर स्टेटमेंट ऑफ एक्टिविटीज में, इसी वाले में जो स्क्रीन पे है, उसमें अक्रूवल्स और वो सारी चीजें भी होंगी ना?
Yeah, so here whether you are choosing cash basis of accounting or accrual basis of accounting, so that's your accounting policy selection. If you are selecting accrual basis of accounting, then everything which you are accruing is come into the expenditure. If you are using cash basis of accounting, then it will be receipt and expenditure, actual cash collection and actual cash payment.
एक्सपेंडिचर. ओके, ठीक है सर, वो तो अभी डील करेंगे बाद में अपन, है ना?
Yes.
ठीक है सर.
Right. Information about the performance of the organization. Performance of the organization, like how much activities they have planned and how much activity they have done. Right. Then after, how an organization obtain and spend cash or other resources, about its borrowing, repayment of borrowing, about other factors that may affect an organization liquidity. So if you see, they need to present the cash flow statement, right? So this is called consolidated statement of cash flow. There you'll be showing operating activity, cash received and cash payment, then investing activity and financing activity if there is anything. And this is same method what we follow for business activity also, direct and indirect method, and most preferable is indirect method. Last one is explanation and interpretation to help user understand the financial information, which is note accounting policy and notes to accounts. Make sense? So here we have studied the objective of preparation of the financial statement for not-for-profit organization. Why we need to prepare the financial statement? What is the benefit? What is the use of preparing financial statement for not-for-profit business organization? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Right? So far we understood two things. One is characteristic of not-for-profit organization. Second is objective of making financial statement.